Okay, recording this video on Thursday, the 3rd of June 2021. It's just gone 8:40 p.m. Chicago time. Do hope you are doing well. So for me, today was a really important day, and I'm really hoping that it's like an omen for what might happen over the next several months. So a move that I've been waiting for a good long while, several months, seemingly came together today, and I'm excited about that. And I wonder if it's going to ripple through a bunch of different markets, and we might have some big moves ahead. Last 10 days trading have been so dull. It's like the E-mini's been hardly moving at all. The volumes have been like just tiny. The ranges have been tiny. Nothing much going on there. A few things kind of happening on other charts. Gold and silver, Bitcoin and so on, but E-mini trading has been particularly dull. This video I'm just going to go through the Aussie dollar chart, which for me is a significant one, the E-mini charts and Bitcoin charts. So that's what I'm going to rip through. Might do gold and silver at the very end, but that's what I've got kind of lined up here. But before getting to those charts, just to say, I've been getting so many emails of people saying, when is the new version of the indicators, the overbought, oversold indicator coming out? And it's like now, finally coded for TradeStation, NinjaTrader, and multi-charts, and I'll be putting it out as soon as I've finished this video. Apologies for the delay. Turned out to be a little bit harder than we thought, putting it into a DLL and making it available for each of those charting platforms. It turns out to be pretty intensive calculation-wise. And a word of caution, if you're trying to use this indicator, you need a whole bunch of back data in the chart for it to calculate fully, because it is looking back through 12 different time frames, multiple time frames, to make its calculations. So that's pretty kind of significant. I have it as a default on all of my bars, 5,000 bars look back. I think that's the case. Let me just look at this on the Aussie dollar chart. 20 years on a daily chart there, but most of my charts I'm using this setting of 5,000 bars back, so it has plenty of data to calculate. So anyway, just a word of warning, they're using the new version of the indicator. And I'm going to show it on a couple of charts in this video. So let's not ramble on any further. Let's look at the Aussie dollar. This is the Aussie dollar continuous contract. Has this little addition here, equals 101XC, because I just want to change the expiry date on this data, but that's kind of a little bit of a change. And this is what happened today. We got a breakthrough support. So it's the usual setup. I'm not going to roll through my usual spiel. Better sine wave on the right-hand side to do with price, and the momentum, and better param to do with volume on the left-hand side. We have run out of steam on the Aussie dollar in terms of cyclical activity. So we overshot resistance on the highest time frame. We played out pullback to end of trend, another little pullback to end of trend on the lowest time frame. Hit a flush pattern, flushing out the last of the buyers here right at 80 cents on the Aussie dollar, and we've kind of fallen away. The beginning of the year, I was really keen on getting short of the Aussie dollar and long the dollar index, and the last couple of months we've kind of gone against that trade, where the dollar index has continued to weaken and the Aussie dollar was kind of strengthening. I was just out of position here, but all we were doing in my mind was just playing out the last of that cyclical energy. So having had a pullback to end of trend on the intermediate time frame here, we came back into support on the intermediate trend, and then we went resistance on the intermediate trend. So we've had the trending activity with our end of trends kind of play itself out, and then we go through a cyclical activity where we're just batting backwards and forwards, working out all of that cyclical energy, waiting for the next trend break. And the trend break for me was the break below support here. Happened to be a pullback in an uptrend support level, but that doesn't matter. We're after this trending move, cyclical activity kind of range bound at this point here, and we've just bust through a support that is got us into a confirmed downtrend on a better combo indicator here. Now, obviously, this level down here at the low is going to be absolutely critical, 75.34. You know, we're a good long ways away from there. We're seemingly kind of bouncing a little bit overnight and so on. But for me, that's an important kind of change in trend. So this trend change in the Aussie dollar could be really significant. We had a whole bunch of blue professional bars here, again, at the beginning of the year, kind of February, March kind of time period here, and we've just been under the lip. So this, for me, is a classic, what I call an under the lip trade, which is the lip has been made. It's like a surfing analogy here. The lip has been made by breaking through Better Pro-Am, the trending system on Better Pro-Am, because we broke below those blue professional bars. We come back up to test, and we go under that lip and we turn away. what I'm looking for when we make that move. Sometimes it can be amateur up bars here, a Rambo pattern there is great, but a really nice signal is when you have a resistance on the intermediate time frame kind of come in. Didn't come in on that spike, came in a little bit later there, but that for me is important. And we've got this change of trend happening on the daily chart here. And so this background is printed gray again, which means the combo trend indicator is signaling a downtrend in volume and a downtrend in price. So that could have severe kind of implications. Aussie dollar tends to be kind of high beta, kind of moves faster and quicker than other kind of currencies against the US dollar. We're starting to roll around on the euro, but it's not as a clear-cut pattern quite yet. Maybe we'll see that with tomorrow's activity. Let's see. What I'd love for tomorrow is a continuation of this second bar here to be a down bar and us to look at that kind of low there and kind of break through it. We might get some big volume, anything like that, but that was an important day. Now, I'm going to show you this on the overbought, oversold chart. This is a whole bunch of mess because it's, how many charts here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 24 charts on the daily time frame with the overbought, oversold indicator. I've always said, if you've followed me over the years, I said I wish I could get everything all in one chart. And, it's not ideal having the volume and the price indicators on two different charts side by side and having to read the information between two charts. It'd be great if it was just on one chart, and that's what the overbought oversold indicator allows me to do. So I'll explain it just briefly here what's going on. The overbought oversold indicator is when we have better sine wave just maxed out in terms of trend, and we have the background printed gray when it's overbought, so we're looking for short trades after that, and then oversold is red bars after that. Sometimes, just like any kind of overbought, oversold indicators like an RSI or anything like that, we can go through extreme periods of long oversold like this. But what I like to see is, after we've had a long period where we're oversold, we didn't have any signals to reverse at that point. We finally get another burst of activity to oversold down here. And when everything kind of comes together, when we have oversold on price, when we start breaking above blue professional bars, and we've had bullish divergence on price, then everything reverses. And here we go with a long signal on the overbought, oversold kind of system, if you like. I don't like calling it a system because I'm still too discretionary a trader to call it, strictly speaking, a system. But what it means for me is when I see oversold, I ought to be looking for opportunities to go long. If we're overbought, I need to be looking for opportunities to kind of go short. And so this is, for me, kind of a signal to go short at this point because we're under the lip. We've changed into a downtrend now on the better sine wave indicator here, the trending indicator, because it's gone white. We know that we've got flush patterns in the background. We've broken below blue professional bars. So that for me is we ought to be looking for weakness. And so we could get on the daily chart here, the beginning of a downtrend, and that could be quite profitable on the way down. I know I'm going to be asked about these signals here that are going on. There's one here that says grab and go, and this is dump and run, and then long trades and short trades and so on. I'm not going to release that yet. It's just, for me, it's a useful way of being able to look at my charts kind of quickly to see what is going on. But the rules for this are incredibly simple. All it is when you get a change in the better sine wave trend when it's in sync with better pro-am. It signals like that. So when we're breaking through a better pro-am signal like that, that's what I call a dump and run trade. And when we're breaking above resistance like this on better pro-am, that's grab and go. So kind of long and short trades kind of going there, and re-entry points of when we have a continuation of the trend when it's above or below the pro-am trend. So if you're familiar with the better indicators, hopefully that kind of makes sense to you. But for me, it's just I like having these as a visual cue to be able to pay attention to my charts when that's happening there. So the whole point of rambling on about the Aussie dollar is the Aussie dollar is an important currency because it's high beta, tends to lead on the risk on, risk off kind of opportunities that it cracked today into a downtrend and been waiting for that downtrend to roll over basically since we saw those blue professional bars. Today was a significant day. So now let's talk about E-mini. Well, the E-mini's just been creeping higher and higher and higher. We all know that, but it's been running out of juice and out of gas. And again, so let's back it down. So I go down through the time frames from a daily time frame, divide that by 3 each time. So 405 minutes during the day session of the E-mini, divide that by 3 gives you 135. 135 minutes divided by 3 gives you 45. Divide 45 by 3 gives you 15. So you can kind of go down the time frames using a factor of 3 in order to see what's going on. So cyclically on the 15-minute chart, we've been in this really wide-ranging kind of pattern here. Batting after we had our pullback to end of trend, strong move up. We've been going through cyclical activity, support, resistance, support, resistance, support, resistance, on this highest time frame, and just moving, between this kind of 40-50 level and 4200 and a little bit kind of down there. But what we've done over the last couple of days is reached a bit of an extreme, played out our trending energy, pull back to end of trend on the lowest time frame, pull back to end of trend on the intermediate time frame, coming up with cyclical resistance on the highest time frame. Then we go through a little bit of kind of cyclical activity, and now we could be breaking into some important trending activity. So we've got resistance on the intermediate time frame and the highest time frame there that just kind of signaled at that point there, bang bang. And we're breaking through support on the lowest time frame there. Trending system has got us kind of short with all these white bars going on here. All we did with activity over the last day or so is fill the gap, and we've come back up. So we're sitting at this level that's really important. When you look at it in terms of the volume energy, we had this extreme kind of level up here above 42.20, whatever that went to up there, and then we had this nasty move down. But every time we've been going up, we've got Rambo patterns here, kind of creeping higher, so it's being led by the amateurs, and this is the first time we've had some blue professional bars over the last few days. So this was Monday, I think, when they gapped it up, the Sunday, Monday, or was that because we had a holiday? That was Tuesday, Monday into Tuesday here that kind of gapped it up. Blue professional bars come in, we can't get through the highs of that, we come down. This is an under the lip kind of trade, if you like. We float back up, can't get through the lip, we kind of crash down, come back up again. Today's activity, a whole bunch of blue professional bars kind of come up here, and we're breaking. If we break through the lows of that at 41.80, that shows that they were just using that activity to kind of get short there. So 15-minute chart, it's a little bit messy because it kind of wings around a little bit. I find the 45-minute a little bit more interesting here. So again, the move being led by the amateurs, kind of Rambo patterns coming up to here. We have a whole bunch of blue professional bars, hold it at 40.50 at this point here. And I read a signal like that. If you don't see blue professional bars at the very high, kind of up here, you see them like this, they hold the market and then force it back up. So if the professionals, let's say they didn't have resting sell orders up here, or they couldn't get an exhaustion pattern to take them out on an extreme kind of buying activity up there, where they'd kind of basically just dump their positions to amateurs that just got overexcited at those highs. If they can't do that, my kind of running hypothesis is that when they come down here, they stop the market dead in its tracks, and you'll find blue professional bars kind of come in here and immediately kind of V-reverse. So they're using all of their volume to stop the market there and force it back up. And what they've done in that forcing back up is to force the amateurs to say, oh, it wasn't a sell-off. I got that wrong. We're going higher. We need to buy. And you see a whole bunch of blue Rambo patterns here with amateurs buying at those highs. Rambo patterns being amateurs buying at the highs where it's a potential reversal of an amateur breakout. So the amateurs are buying up here. And effectively, the professionals, they've stopped it. They've spent their money in order to stop the market there. And they're using that time when we're kind of in what I call the killing fields here to distribute their positions. Now, I wish I could prove this. I've tried everything in terms of measuring volume and looking at bid-ask patterns and so on to say that the price that the professionals pay here in order to buy the market, stop the market, buy the market, and force it up, that the price they pay to do that is compensated by the amount of volume that they can get short during this activity. I can't make that calculation work. So I can't prove to you that that is actually what's going on. All I can say is if in the next week we break through 40.51, having spent a lot of time here just fussing around these kind of new highs, and then we finally break through that support, that will for me be proof that that's what they were doing. I've seen this on so many charts. I just can't prove it in terms of the bid-ask data and the volume that kind of goes through. So if anybody's any the wiser, please send me an email. But that's my kind of working hypothesis about what's kind of going on here. So let's see. 40.51 is going to be absolutely key on the 45-minute chart. But you can see here, we're just gradually kind of rounding over here because we can't make any headway with Rambo patterns and amateurs up here at the highs. We need a nasty down day. It's like we've not really had anything nasty on the way down. Something like a 1-2% down day, 1.5-2% down day. That'd be really significant in terms of getting things going. But let's see. So that's the 45-minute chart. The 135-minute chart, not very interesting, but more interesting is the daily chart here. So again, exhaustion buy, bearish divergence. So we've run out of puff in terms of volume momentum here. Yes, this divergence pattern is right on the zero line. I prefer to see that with a higher reading. So heaven knows, I don't know if we're going to go for a flush. Do we come down and then kind of come back up? Possibly, because the next way down, so we've got a left shoulder here with pullback to end of trend on the lowest time frame. We have to roll back down and find pullback to end of trend on the intermediate time frame, and that's when these two lines, these kind of medium thickness lines, kind of cross on better sine wave. When those two kind of come together, that'll be pullback support. So we might have another push back up to the 4200s in the next month or so. Month, I don't know, that's probably too long, but in the next couple of weeks we'll come back down and find that support. So let's see, and then we could maybe see a flush pattern coming in after that, but we've run out of juice for the time being, and cyclically we've overshot this resistance, but we've just bounced, just barely grazed off that resistance on the daily chart frame there. So let's see again. Just running out of juice. So Aussie dollar and E-mini are really important charts. Lastly, Bitcoin. What a fantastic kind of couple of weeks Bitcoin trading, just in terms of the huge volumes going through and all the news articles. I love seeing the panicking going on. Oh, it's going to 16. Oh, it's going to 10. Oh, it's going to 0. It'll be made illegal. Blah blah. Who knows? I don't know. But I know right now we've had a sell-off. We've got rid of a lot of weak hands that have sold out because they've been scared stupid. Maybe they bought up in the 40s, 50s, and they're looking at losses. But for me, what we've done is had a kind of capitulation bottom for a couple of reasons. So first of all, on this chart, I talk about this with Bitcoin. There's no good way of plotting Bitcoin on a chart right now because we have three different ways of looking at it. We got the BTC contract, the futures contract. We've also got the micro, but there's so little volume going through the micro Bitcoin contract, it's not even worth reviewing. So you've got at BTC, we've got dollar BRTI, which is the Bitcoin real-time index, and then BTC USD, which is a combination of exchanges, data kind of aggregated by TradeStation. But more than that, I can't get any information on this, so I don't know what volume this represents of the entire kind of universe of Bitcoin exchanges or anything like that. So I'm a little bit in the dark. But the activity that we had a week ago was a really, really big reading. In terms of volume on this chart, it wasn't all that big, 20,000 kind of read here. But we're talking about 20,000 volume going through at 35,000 probably around average price. The last time we had super big volume was on this exhaustion sell down here in 2020, and that was massive volume, 80,000 kind of contracts go through. But back then, I think we were sitting at $8,000. So when you multiply the volume by the closing price to give an idea of the order of magnitude of trades kind of going through, we were only talking about 150 or so. What does that read? 200 million kind of in volume kind of going through. With this spike in volume, because of the elevated price, we're talking about 400 million, so almost $500 million traded there. And I don't know, maybe we should be doubling that because those are buyers and sellers happening at the same time. But anyway, It's a huge volume kind of going through the markets at that point. But again, I can't tell you whether that's representative of, all the exchanges, the biggest exchanges or whatever, because I just don't know the detail on that. And I always talk about these stair-stepping trades. We've been long into confirmed uptrend in Bitcoin since, what is that? Is that long ago? How's bells? Yeah, so back when we broke through kind of 8,000, 9,000 back in May of 2020. And so we've been an uptrend, confirmed uptrend since then. We obviously got to the 65 kind of level, but it was Rambo patterns led by the amateurs, so weak and kind of suspect. And hell's bells it was. We fell off, 50% move down to held us at 30. But here's the stair step pattern in Better Pro Am. So stair step up here when the blue professional bars kind of come in, and we trail this stop. Because we don't know when the professionals will leg in and leg out of trades. And so we need to trail the stop behind them to find out whether they were buying on the dip or getting out on the highs. And when we have a pattern like this, this is amateurs were buying those highs, professionals were not taking profits up there. But as soon as we had that sell-off, there we go, a nice little sequence. Some blue professional bars kind of come in, force us to have a stair step kind of up here. It means this 30,000 level is absolutely key. We're weakening a little bit kind of currently at the moment, but we're setting up for a continuation of this rally up. And I hope everybody listens to me on a regular basis kind of remembers what I said, because I said we would form a left shoulder, we'd pull back to end of trends, then we would come back and we would go pull back to end of trend on the intermediate time frame. And there we go, we've had that cross on the intermediate time frame, and today the pullback support kind of came in. So we've got supports on the lowest and intermediate time frames there kind of coming at this level. So we've got to go pull back to end of trend. Now who knows where that's going to go? I don't know whether it's going to go above 65, when it's going to run out of steam kind of before then, but this is a left shoulder. And then we make the head of the move of a shoulder, head, shoulder kind of move with pullback to end of trend. And we've seen that on a couple of charts. So that's the BTC USD chart. We've also seen it on the real-time index there. Came in a little bit kind of differently here. We overshot this level here, but we never broke into a downtrend. It's not confirmed downtrend. Or even a downtrend on better sine wave, and that support's kind of held us at that point. This I like for a trade. It's called an overshoot trade. When we overshoot support, we're caught by the next highest time frame here, and then we come back up. The signal is to go in when we close above that support level that we broke through, which is quite a ways away, $10,000 away, but that's of interest to me. So there we go. So that's kind of coming on those two charts, slightly different on the futures chart. Here we've not kind of signaled yet. We're waiting for it. We got the support in the lowest time frame, but that has not signaled a confirmation on that time frame. But I'm expecting that to happen. So we'll get all three charts kind of lining up there with the cyclical patterns. So I don't think it's all over Bitcoin by any means. I think we're going to go have a look at higher levels and see where that pullback to end of trend kind of goes to. Now, what was I going to show you on my tip bar charts? Yeah, this was the this overbought, oversold indicator on the Bitcoin chart. Here I use an 8600 tip bar chart, which is roughly an hourly chart. Mind you, I made that calculation several months ago, and with the volume that's been going through lately, maybe an hourly chart is way bigger than an 8600 tip bar chart, but it still shows you directionally what you should be doing. The background, when the background is red, we ought to be looking for long trades. When the background is grey, we ought to be looking for kind of short trades. So we came into here, exhaustion sell, bullish divergence, flush patterns here. We've got oversold at this point. We break through the trailing pro-am. We get a confirmed uptrend kind of signal. We run into cyclical resistance at this point. We've had exhaustion buy. We've had blue professional bars up here. We come back down again. And this last market kind of set up at 35. We kept on coming down. First we hit 30. Then we came back and tested to 31, 32. Now we come back and tested kind of 34. Blue professional bars kind of come in here. They're buying the lows. exhaustion, sell, bullish divergence. Cyclically, we're oversold. We break through that trailing pro-am, and we get another signal that we should be looking for long trades. Now, at the moment, we had some blue professional bars with resistance at that point, but we didn't have a blow-off volume. We didn't have exhaustion buy at that point. So this one might not kind of work out. 37 is going to be absolutely key, but it's certainly not a signal to go short at that point because we haven't had this or blue professional bars kind of getting out on the way up. So anyway, that's a tip bar chart on Bitcoin. Let me just quickly show you gold and silver. Silver here using a 3000 tip bar chart, and a lot of activity here. I've kept all these signals on, which I probably should switch off for you. But we, having been oversold here with blue professional bars kind of coming, exhaustion, sell, bullish divergence, cyclically oversold, we get all kinds of signals to kind of go long into silver. We have a little bit of weakness here, but we continue up and up and up until we have exhaustion buy at 29, bearish divergence. We start breaking through pro-am, we come back up to test, and then with today's activity, last couple of days activity, bang, it's kind of showing weakness on the way down. And because we don't have any oversold, red bars kind of coming in the background there, just because we've had exhaustion sell at that point doesn't mean it's going to catch, because everything needs to kind of come together. And then let me show you gold. So gold, just quickly, 7,700 tip bar chart on gold. And here we go, cyclically overbought at that point. We have exhaustion buy, blue professional bars. We start breaking through the blue professional bars. So there's a head and shoulders move, shoulder, head, shoulder at 1900. And we kind of reverse, and today was a nasty kind of down day in gold. Anyway, I'm losing my voice. That's a long video. Apologies for that, but you've not heard from me for a couple of weeks, so maybe it was a welcome video. Anyway, hope your trading is going well, and let's see what happens in the next couple of weeks.